Meet Dan. Dan is the president of a large multinational organization. Growth is prolific, and Dan is the star of the boardroom. Dan's goal is to take the company public in the next year, and with the way things are going, the company is right on track. Things couldn't be better. One day, Dan receives an email from his friend Bob about a news story featuring Dan's company. Dan opens the attachment and is ecstatic to see that his company made the front page. He forwards the email to the board of directors and several key company employees. 3 months later, Dan is reading the newspaper with his morning coffee when he sees a much different story about his company. This time, the front page news says that his company has suffered a data breach. His customers' confidential information, everything from credit card numbers and bank account details to passwords and intimate identity information, was leaked overseas. With the information having crossed national borders, legal options just became more complicated. Board members and customers are calling, understandably outraged. The Federal Trade Commission, FTC, is calling, demanding a full report within the week. So Dan calls his CIO, Phil, who says that his team is looking into it. Phil, knowing he's in over his head, calls Alex, a security expert who investigates breaches. Alex performs a detailed assessment and identifies that the news article attachment Dan opened and shared was actually a malicious Trojan. Every keystroke that Dan pressed on his computer from that moment on was sent to a hacker. Plus, every recipient of Dan's email likely made the same unknowing mistake to pass along the email and further propagate the Trojan. This Trojan infiltrated the company's network, stealing valuable information. The FTC levies a $20 million fine for the data breach. The company loses 90% of its customers and 100% of its respect, credibility, and value. Dan and Phil are both fired. One simple mistake puts your company and your career at risk, and Dan and Phil had to learn this lesson the hard way. So let's go through some precautions to proactively prevent this all-too-common security breach. Tips for Dan, the CEO. Don't be so quick to open or pass along information online. Here are some tips for professionals and CEOs like Dan. Always be alert when checking your emails. Look for red flags such as word usage, grammar, salutation, and other suspicious signs. For instance, Dan should use his knowledge of how Bob typically writes as a marker for authenticity. There's also no shame in calling Bob and asking if he actually sent the email. If the email has links, mouse over the link, don't click it. And if you notice the tooltip, you can tell if the link is fishy. For instance, the link text may display www.mytrustedinsurance.com, but when you mouse over it, the tooltip could show something completely different. If you receive an email from some place where you have an account, for example, your bank, don't click on any links. Instead, log into your bank account separately using your browser. If you even have the slightest doubt about an attachment, use a free sandboxing tool to first run the attachment. This ensures that it won't spread to your computer. Encrypt all emails that contain customer information. Tips for Phil, the CIO. Malicious attachments may go undetected by even the most reputable security software. Even an attachment with a legitimate document can run a Trojan in the background. Here are some precautions for the CIO. Consult an information security expert when installing email security solutions. Also, look into mechanisms beyond antivirus software that, when installed, ensure malicious emails don't infiltrate your inbox in the first place. Perform regular data leakage audits. Typical security assessments and penetration tests are not enough. A data leakage audit every 6 months is critical to ensure sensitive information isn't being leaked outside your network. Make sure you also have the system configurations on infrastructure components reviewed by an expert. Perform security log reviews on a periodic basis, limiting or even preventing the damage of a breach. Think about how critical emails are to your business. Don't fall victim to the same mistakes Dan. Protect your business. Protect yourself.